When you hear people from different English-speaking countries, you can quickly tell that they have different accents. People all over the world speak their languages with different accents. But some people may speak in a particular way, but it's not really an accent. It's just the way they talk. So what's up with accents and idiolects? Stick around and let's talk about them. Hi, welcome to Snap Language. My name is Mark Franco. I didn't do a lot of research for this video. I just want to talk about what I know about accents and idiolects and share some personal experiences with them. If you're interested, I'll leave some resources in the descriptions. An accent is a distinctive way of speaking language. It's a distinctive flavor, but it doesn't qualify as a different language. You can recognize an accent by the way people pronounce consonants and vowels in a particular language. A typical example that people love to point out is the rhotic and non-rhotic R sounds in British and American English. So you'd say car or ca, park the car or park the car. There's also bath and bath, or butter and butter, or ba. Actually, there are people in the UK who pronounce the R in car or bath instead of bath, and they're recognized as coming from a certain geographical area in the UK. In standard American English, 5, but in some parts of the US, 5. Then accents are used as markers of a particular national origin, and they can also be a marker of regional origin within the same country. But when does an accent become a dialect? It's complicated. A language variety needs more than just different pronunciation to be classified as a dialect rather than a regional accent. Maybe that should be left for another video. Sometimes an accent has to do with intonation and rhythm too. Maybe I talk like this. Maybe I talk like this. Maybe I talk like this. In these examples, you're affecting not vowels and consonants only, but also the rhythm and intonation. In some parts of the United States, people speak in sort of a staccato. In other parts, it's more singy-songy. And in some parts, there's more of a drawl. Then different inflection also contributes to the perception of an accent. The same is true in any English-speaking country, by the way. You'll find similar differences in inflection. When you study how people talk, you always run into an issue that more often than not, you're not dealing with just the accent. People also use different vocabulary, even different grammar structures in the language variety they speak. Let's take, for example, some language varieties spoken in the American South where people have a certain way of pronouncing the sounds of the language and a certain rhythm and inflection, but they may also use different words that are typical of that variety, or different grammar structures, like saying, I'm fixing to leave, I'm fixing to leave, or I finna leave. That's just their way of expressing the future tense. So you might say that there's more to recognizing someone as a speaker of a certain Southern accent, a certain British accent, or a certain Spanish accent. There's more to it than just the sounds you hear. As I said before, an accent can be used as a social marker. That's more than just recognizing a person's geographical origin. Even in the same area, we can recognize a person's ethnicity and social status based on a perceived accent. That can get kind of dangerous because humans, we love to hold on to our stereotypical biases. We end up using a person's accent to legitimize discrimination. It's no wonder that groups that are discriminated against are thought to speak an inferior form of the language. But that's a topic for another video where we'll explore linguistic biases. I'll add a link to the description when the video's out. Now we need to talk about idiolects. I'll give you an example from my personal experience. When I was a linguistics student in college, I had a professor that was fascinated by the way I talked. Sometimes we'd be discussing a topic in class and she'd say, "I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying. I was analyzing your speech patterns." I was like, "What?" That's how I learned what an idiolect is. She said I had a particular way of speaking. She studied phonology, so she was intrigued. She explained it wasn't about my accent. It was about something that I did when I talked, my inflections, the way I joined words in connected speech. She wasn't making fun of me. She was just fascinated as a scholar by my idiolect. Most of us have certain speech patterns that are unique to us. We're mostly unaware of them because we think we speak just like everyone else around us. Actually, I realized that maybe I sort of had a family idiolect because people would often say I sounded like my brother on the phone. They could never explain why. I couldn't hear it. I still think my brother and I sound totally different. But once my brother's girlfriend called and we talked for a few minutes until she realized, "Oh my God, it's you, Mark. I thought I was talking to your brother." Oh well, I guess my brother and I do have similar idiolects. Now, let me open a can of worms, but I think as a linguistics communicator, I should bring it up. Remember, everybody has an accent. You may think you don't, but someone out of your linguistic group will. And nothing makes one accent any better or worse than another. The only reason we perceive an accent as wrong or bad or funny is that our perceptions are biased, stereotyped. The way you talk, whether it's your regional accent or your idiolect, the way someone speaks is very personal. Our speech is part of our identity, our social identity. It's how we present ourselves to the world through the language. My college professor was not making fun of me. She was a very smart, kind person. She apologized for it and explained to me that she was just fascinated by my idiolect. She was just analyzing it as a linguist. But sometimes it was kind of awkward for me. Not all the time, but sometimes it felt like I was a lab rat being studied. She was a linguist, so I understood her interest. It didn't do me any damage. But you don't know how talking about someone else's accent or idiolect could affect that person, or how the person will interpret your comment. Even if you think the comment is benign or even a compliment, especially if you don't know the person very well, in most cases, just don't. Try walking up to a stranger at the pool and say, "Hey, nice bathing suit." There's a good chance they'll think you're a creep, even if they say thank you. Just be mindful. I don't know, is it just harmless fun? Where do you draw the line between harmless and harmful? Hey kids, it's fun with stereotypes time! Again, intrinsically, no accent is better or worse than another. We're the ones who attach positive or negative stereotypes to them. Now, if you do use a person's accent or idiolect to make fun of them, to belittle them, tear them down, you need to take a hard look at yourself. You're using something that's deeply personal, that's part of their identity, their social identity, to demean them? What kind of human do you want to be?